Alright, so let's take a look at number 38 here. We're given this function full of absolute value, and we want to write this as a piecewise function. So first thing we want to do is we want to find where our breakpoints are. And that's going to be where inside the absolute value equals 0. So we're going to set each one of those equal to 0. So we'll get x minus 1 equal to 0. Let's fix this here. X minus 1 equals 0. Then we're going to do the 2x plus 4 equals 0. And then lastly here, we're going to do x plus 10 equals 0. So these are going to give us the breakpoints for our piecewise function. So solving these, we'll get x equals 1, x equals negative 2, and x equals negative 10. Alright, so now we have to figure out what we care about. So negative 10 is obviously the least. So let's start with case number 1. And that's going to be when x is less than negative 10. So I'm going to just choose a value here. I'm going to choose something like x equals negative 12, let's say. So now I'm going to go back to my first absolute value here. And as you can see, when x equals negative 12, if I were to put negative 12 in here, this would give me negative 13 inside. But I want that to be a positive 13. So the way I can write this without the absolute value is by writing this as negative x minus 1. Because what's happening here now, if you put the x as negative 12 into this part of the equation, this expression here, we'll have negative 12 minus 1 would be negative 13 inside, but then by putting the negative outside, it will become a positive 13, which is what the absolute value does. Then we're adding here, so now I'm going to test out my second part. So I put the negative 12 in. 2 times negative 12 is negative 24, plus 4 gives me negative 20. So again, this would give me a negative number, so to make it positive, I'm going to negate that. So it's going to be negative 2x plus 4. And then lastly here, if I put negative 12 into the last expression, negative 12 plus 10, again that's negative 2, but I want that to be positive 2, so I would negate this expression. But again, we have this minus sign here, so I'm just going to bring that minus sign down first, and now I'm negating this. So now I'm doing negative x plus 10. So in this case, now I just need to expand all this, and I'll get the first part here. So if I distribute this out, we're going to get negative x plus 1, and then we'll get minus 2x minus 4. This is going to become a plus, so we're just left with plus x plus 10. And now if we simplify this together, combine our like terms here, negative x, negative 2x, positive x, we'll end up with negative 2x. 1 minus 4 is negative 3. Negative 3 plus 10 is 7. Plus 7 here. Okay. So let's go to the next part then. Let's go to case number 2. So now case 2, we want to check what happens when we're between our two lowest values, which is negative 2 and negative 10. So we're going to check when x is between negative 2 and negative 10. Alright, so in this case, let's go ahead and choose a value here. Actually, no, I should probably switch up the color. Let's do a different color now. So let's change this to blue. Okay, so case 2, let's choose x equals, why don't we say something like negative 5. Alright, so let's test out case 2 here. So again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to check when these are positive or negative. So if I put negative 5 into this first part here, negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. So again, since I want that to be positive 6, I'm going to choose negative x minus 1. Then I go to my second expression here. If I put in negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. Negative 10 plus 4 is going to be negative 6. So again, to get that to positive 6, I'm going to negate the second part. So we'll get negative 2x plus 4. Okay. And then lastly here, have the minus sign, which I'm just going to bring down. Oh, I should have brought down the plus sign before, but it'll end up being the same thing. And if I put a negative 5 in here, it's negative 5 plus 10. Now, negative 5 plus 10 is positive 5 already, so I don't need to change this. I can just leave this as x plus 10 because it's already positive, so I don't need to change it. So now I'm going to simplify this second part here. So if I distribute this out, I'll get negative x plus 1 minus 2x minus 4 minus x minus 10. So now we're going to go ahead and simplify this, combine our like terms. So negative x, negative 2x, and a negative x is going to give me negative 4x. And then we have a positive 1 minus 4 is negative 3. Negative 3 minus 10 is going to give us a negative 13. So there's the second part of our piecewise function. All right, now we're going to go to case 3 here. So again, let me change the color. So case 3. Now case 3 is when we're between negative 2 and we're also going to be between negative 2 and 1. Okay, so negative 2 to 1. So let's choose something in this case like x equals 0. And now I'm going to test out, again, my 3 expressions up here. So 0 minus 1 would be negative. So again, I want to make that positive, so I negate it. So negative x minus 1. Then I do this for the second part here. 0 plus 4 is 4. That's already positive, so I can just leave that. So it's going to be a plus, and I'll just leave 2x plus 4. Okay, so that part just stays. And then I bring down the minus sign. And if I put a 0 in here, 0 plus 10, again, that's positive, so that stays as well. X plus 10. So then we're going to go ahead and do this out. So we'll get negative x plus 1 plus 2x plus 4 minus x minus 10. Now again, we're going to combine our like terms. Negative x plus 2x minus x, those all will reduce down to 0. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 minus 10 is negative 5. So this is just negative 5. All right, and then let's do our last case here. So again, let's switch our color. So case 4 is going to be when x is greater than 1. So in this case, I'll just choose something like 2. So let's try this out. Let's go back up to the top. 2 minus 1 is positive, so that's just going to stay x minus 1. So we leave that as x minus 1. Then what we're going to do, okay, check our next expression. So let's go back up here. So we have the plus. And if we put a 2 in for this next expression, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 4 again is 8. So since it's already positive, we're going to leave that alone. It'll stay 2x plus 4. All right, then we're going to go and test out that third expression there. So let's check that out. So in this case, if we put a 2 in here, 2 plus 10 is positive 12, so we don't need to change that. So we'll just go ahead and bring down that minus sign and then fill in here x minus 10. Just hold on. All right. X minus, oops, why is that doing that? Hold on again, sorry. Okay, there we go. Okay, so again, then let's go ahead and simplify this. So we have x minus 1 plus 2x plus 4 minus x plus 10. So we wind up with, in this case, x plus 2x minus x is 2x. And then negative 1 plus 4 is going to be 3. 3 plus 10 is 13, right? Negative 1 plus 4 is 3, and 3 plus 10 is 13. Okay, so we get 2x plus 13. Oh, wait. I just realized I made a mistake here. This actually should have been a plus 10 So that would make this a minus 10. So this is going to change this a little bit. You know, I want to erase that. Eraser here. Okay, so let's just erase this. We can redo this. Okay, so let's fix that here. Sorry about that. Alright, so this was a plus 10, which makes that a minus 10. So then if we add the numbers, negative 1 plus 4 is 3, and 3 minus 10 is going to be a negative 7. So plus negative 7, so that's just 2x minus 7. Alright, so we have our 4 cases here, so now finally we can write this out as the piecewise function. So in this case, I'll just choose another color, I'll just do black. So we have our full function here, f of x equals, and let's break it down to the piecewise. So the first thing we got in case number 1 was negative 2x plus 7. So this is going to be negative 2, come on. Again, hold on 1 second. I just got to fix a little bit of technical difficulty here. Okay, let's see if that did it. Oops. It was negative 2x plus 7. Okay, negative 2x plus 7. And that was when x was, in this case, less than negative 10. So we were going to put x is less than negative 10. Then our second case here, case number 2, we ended up with negative 4x minus 13. So negative 4x minus 13. That was when x was between negative 10 and 2. So we're going to have negative 10 between x and negative 2. And then if we look at case 3 here, we just simply got negative 5. So that would just be negative 5. And case 3 was when x was between negative 2 and 1. So negative 2 and 1. And then finally here we had case number 4. That was when x was greater than 1. So x is greater than 1. And we got 2x minus 7. So there is your piecewise function. Right at the end here is this full part. Alright, hope that helps.